Hello everyone, this is a casual update video and I want to talk about a few developments. In the past 2 days, if you go to the mainstream media, those of you who care and pay attention to Florida, you would see that there is this unanimous attack, okay? Vicious, unanimous attack on the governor here, Governor Ron DeSantis. You go to CNN, you see it's right there on the front page, okay? There it is. Florida is crumbling. Everybody is dying in Florida. COVID is killing tens of thousands of people. It is the worst state, and it's all because the politicians, the representatives, elected representatives, and the governor, being Governor DeSantis, is not implementing mandated insanity. Now, if you go and check the facts, if you go check the numbers, okay, it's very easy to do. In fact, you don't have to go to any alternative websites or anything. If you go to CDC's own website on COVID, okay, and I'm going to leave the link for you in the description section of this YouTube post so you can see it for yourself, CDC's website, and look at the reports with data, statistics, all that stuff per state. And the list they have, here is the list. Look at the list, right? And you start counting and see it starts from the worst. In terms of the worst state, the states with the highest number of positive cases, etc., you will see that of all our states, 50 states, Florida has been on this number 40 to 43, meaning there are at least 39 states in the United States doing really bad, much worse, right? And in fact, if you look at the ones that are doing really, really bad, for example, California, look at California here, you see that? You see that it's number 3, number 4. And many of the states that are doing really, really bad are the ones that have been practicing mandated insanity the most lockdowns, mandated masks even when you're walking on the street. So what does it tell you? It tells you that either there is no correlation or negative correlation between, okay, implementing, okay, putting in practice insane measures, mandatory masks. There are so many reports that are saying it is not effective. It's not doing anything to save you, right? There is no correlation or negative correlation between practicing these mandated insanity measures, right? Masks, lockdown, and having the number of cases of COVID. If they were effective, you would see that California would be all the way at the bottom of this list. It's just the opposite. Back to the pressure, vicious attacks on our governor here in Florida. Why are they doing this? They can't stand the fact that Florida is providing this example that we are keeping our businesses open, operational. We do not have any statewide mandates. In fact, many of our county cities here, they don't have mandates for masks. We don't have any lockdowns. We haven't had any lockdowns. Our cafes, restaurants, hotels, they're all thriving. And by doing all this and not going insane like California, we are doing great, and our economy is prospering here. We have prosperous economy compared to insane states engaging in insane measures. They can't stand it. They can't stand it. And not only that, when you look at CDC's own data and then look at the mainstream media, that right there should tell you that everything we are hearing, all these reports, are based on lies. They are putting out propaganda and false information. And places like CNN, mainstream media outlets like CNN, well, they have international arms, right? This big corporation, mainstream media outlets. I have people sending me emails, family members in other countries, saying, we hear that things are so horrific in Florida, that there are millions of people dying and there are bodies piling up. And I keep sending them the same CDC reports. And I'm saying, see, it is the exact opposite. Florida is one of the top 5, 6 best states, both in terms of not having these high numbers of COVID positive and that, not only that, but also it is one of the very few states with a population of nearly 22 million that is doing good and is not going bankrupt the way the other states are going bankrupt. Businesses are thriving, people's spirits up. And of course, another sign we see here is we see how people from all over the country, they are flocking here to Florida. Even the insane mindset, they are running away from places like New York and Massachusetts, and they are coming to Florida. Why? And most importantly, these are all rhetorical questions. I'm not saying why because I don't know the answer, or if you don't know the answer, we all know why. So you don't have to go far. You don't have to really research hard. All you have to do is look at the facts on the ground, look at the real data, even their data. That means CDC's, the federal government's data. Then compare those, okay, compare that with the mainstream media's article, news, misinformation. That right there tells you that this is a conspiracy. You don't have to have any other ingredients to prove it. That they can put it there every single day, especially in the past 2 days, saying this state, Florida, is doing horrific because of their representatives, the governor there. They are not practicing, they are not putting in place mandated insanity when the data fact says, no, Florida is doing great. This is a conspiracy. It's a massive conspiracy. I would go as far as saying this is conspiracy to destroy this nation, its economy. I mean, look at the handouts. Let's talk about COVID handouts, okay? Another list I have, and I will try to remember and include the link. And again, this is from our own federal government's websites and their own research files. Very up to date. Okay. It lists all the states in the US and it says, here are the numbers, the amount of money the federal government gives each state per each reported COVID case. How is it defined, COVID case? Not anybody who dies from COVID, not anybody who is gravely sick due to COVID, not anybody who is receiving treatment for COVID. No. The money federal government is giving per anyone who tests positive for COVID, even if they don't have any symptoms. The states every day, right? They report, they transfer their data saying, today, I'm just giving you an example, in the state of, let's say, Florida, we had 100 positive COVID case. 100 people tested positive. For each one of those hundreds, all right, the state of Florida receives from the federal government $135,000. Think about it. So do the numbers. If you have 10 people, if you report that you have had 10 people testing positive in Florida, you get $1,350,000 from the federal government. No questions asked. Here it is. If you get 100 people testing positive in Florida for COVID, testing positive, then you receive $10,350,000. You just do the math and you start arriving at numbers in billions of dollars just for Florida. So this list, what does this list do? This list lists all the states. So it says, you can look at it, I'm going to put the link. In Florida, it is $135,000 federal grant money per each positive case. Then it shows some places like Minnesota, Minneapolis, that area, and it says in this state, it is $300,000 per each positive COVID case reported to the federal government. And then you look at North Carolina, it's about $200-something thousand, $250,000 per each positive COVID case. I know I'm repeating because I want to drill this, okay? I really want you to grasp this. Ask yourself, why? First of all, they are not saying where the money is going, how it's being distributed, how much of it goes to the pockets of the politicians, how much of it goes into, to the state Department of Health for the state, the HHS for Florida states, how much of it goes to the hospitals, it's not giving you any of those stuff, because if they did, they would be in some ways considered transparent as government, the federal government. It would be considered a transparent federal government. Since when we have seen transparency with our federal government? I don't remember the last time I have seen anything that in any way indicates transparency. Very simple. As we all know, money talks. Money drives things. Money gets things done. Money comes with strings attached. No question about it. Anybody who says, no, sometimes it's altruistic. Our federal government, and this is the money actually we don't really have, because even once you take all the taxpayers' hard-earned dollars, look at our deficit, look at our economy state, look at our unemployment, our economy is not experiencing this amazing surplus for them to go and open the Treasury Department and start handing out $150,000, $250,000 for any positively tested COVID person, okay, for a state. Depending on each state, the amount. It goes as high as $300,000. And right now, I'm not going to even get into the fact that even those test results, many of them are not reliable. We have been getting so many people falsely testing positive. No, do you still get the money? Back to why are they giving money? Again, another rhetorical question, because you know the answer, I know the answer. They give the money and they want obedience. They want compliance. What they want is, we give you this money, and for this money, you got to do things. Meaning, you, instead of putting in place laws, rules, mandates, whether through your executive branch or your Congress, the ones that we want you to put in place, meaning lock down your state, make sure masks mandatory, even if you're taking a piss in your house. It has gone insane. You see people driving singularly in their cars, and they are wearing visors and masks. So if that is not insanity, what would be insanity? Why have I started this whole activism, these series, what I have been doing lately, urging you, telling you to look inwards, look at your state, look at your local government. That's where we are going to win this war against insanity. They want dependent states. They want lapdog states. They want the United States to be, as a whole, as a nation, no different than Belgium and Netherlands. And they want central government, big, bloated, corrupt, bloated and corrupt central government that dictates. And the rest of the neutered states, neutered by whom? Neutered by the federal government and this New World Order deep state to comply and not challenge anything. Meaning what? They are attacking our Constitution that was put in place to ensure our liberties. And a major portion of this has to do with the states' rights and the states' high level of autonomy, so that if you end up, which they knew we were going to end up, because it is bound to happen throughout the history, any central government is bound to become despotic, power-hungry, authoritarian. You can't find a single government that has not evolved, and it doesn't take hundreds of years. They evolve very quickly. And power corrupts. So our founding fathers put all these measures in place for us, the people, to use it and not let that happen. So they can print money and hand out money to the states as much as they want. They can print trillions of dollars if they choose to every day. And for power, for that despotic power, they would do it. Why wouldn't they? What would stop them? And you know the kinds of people who are running, the people and the powers behind them, the deep state. They want to turn all these states obedient lapdogs, where federal government feeds each state, and federal government, the central government, dictates how we live in each state. On our schools, on our health departments, on our health care, on everything. Our entire way of life has to be based on what they consider their Bible guidance. That's what they want. And with this COVID insanity, with this COVID craze, they are quickly doing that because states, not Florida yet, and it won't if we don't let it, they're folding. They're going along. Wouldn't it be great? I mean, this is worse than communism. It is worse than what it was in the Soviet Union. A big bloated federal government who feeds you, because you look at all these businesses in the states, the dependent states, the ones that are going along with this federal government plot, scheme, they are bankrupt. They're all going bankrupt. What is happening to the businesses there? I'm not talking about Walmart or Target. I'm talking about hundreds and thousands of businesses, restaurants that have been shut down and locked down. I don't care what your party, I don't care what your philosophy, political philosophy. I don't think any sane American would say, oh, but it's okay. If that's happening, we see that here. Data doesn't lie. Facts don't lie. These are facts. And it's okay, unless they're insane. And unfortunately, we have many, many people who, thanks to the propaganda, mainstream media, indoctrination, academia, they have become that. They have become dumb and insane. But anybody who's sane, who's truly American, would say, we have to stop this. We can't. We don't. This is not what we should be seeing in our country. So it's time to look at our local and state governments and act quickly. They are pressuring people like Governor Ron DeSantis. They are pressuring certain senators and representatives, state representatives and state senators here in Florida. Florida is important for them. I just said 22 million population. I mean, compare that to these countries in Europe, right? Belgium, about 10 million. Netherlands, I believe, is about 12 million. Hungary is 9.5 million. Florida, state of Florida, equals two of the mid-sized countries practically in the EU, in Europe. And so far, Florida has remained sane, but things are changing quickly. That's one of my updates because I went to one of our local meetings. This was last Wednesday. And the day after that, we just got a notice that the city council here for the city of Naples in Florida have put this emergency meeting scheduled for this Monday, December 21st at 8:30 a.m. to again vote on mandatory masks everywhere in the city of Naples here. Now, the last time they had this, there are 7 members on the council, and the outcome of the vote was 4-3 saying, heck, I'm not going to cuss, heck no, we're not going to have that. So 4 sane city council members said no to mandatory mask mandated by the city. They said no. Very close, very close. 1 vote difference and it would have gone the other way. Let's say like Palm Beach or Miami-Dade County. So, back to this thing. This, just pay attention. December 21st, Monday, with only 2-3 days of heads up, and they're not even really advertising it that much. This is when everybody's busy. They're driving somewhere for their Christmas family gatherings. This is 2 days before Christmas. People have guests. People are busy with all the holidays related activities. So people are not paying attention. And it's 8:30 in the morning, 3 days before Christmas. This is exactly the kinds of opportunity they create when they can press on. Not many people attending because citizens, active citizenry, participates. They go and they say, hey, I'm going to ask questions and I'm also going to deliver statements saying this is going to kill our businesses. We don't want to turn to other states and go bankrupt, etc., right? Not only that, especially now with all these reports, all these factual, statistical reports saying that masks is pretty much moot. It's not protecting you. Masks not going to protect you. And here, this is from this place, from Germany. Here is the report from England. This is a report here from our own government saying, okay, here's how effective mask is. I'm going to do my best and I'm going to attend because considering the urgent emergency setup for this vote and the scheduling, the time for it, it reeks with, I don't know, it's suspicious, okay? You know me, I have been around for a long time in this arena of politics, and I know to a certain degree how things work. Again, I found out about it, not because it's everywhere publicized, it's because one of the members who attended our chapter meeting sent an email and saying, this is what's happening. Great. So first, I got informed of the fact that this is happening. Had I not attended these meetings, gotten to know these other activists here in Naples, Florida, and this includes Marco Island and Fort Myers as well, I wouldn't have known. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting at? It's important for us to do this, not only 5, 10, 20 of us as we are doing right now in this pocket here and in another pocket. We need to increase our numbers. The clock is ticking. We don't have much time. And right now I'm talking about Florida, but those of you from other states, you should be doing exactly the same thing. It's not different. In fact, in many of the states, things are so much worse and it's even much more urgent, right? So this is what I'm putting my focus on. And this is what I have been doing, and this is what I am going to do, because I can't think of anything more urgent than this when it comes to our well-being, our health, our liberties, and in countering, resisting, defeating all these attempts to turn us another one of these despotic, authoritarian, one government, one central government nations. We don't want that. I don't want that. And those of you in Florida, I have set up a Twitter page. Here it is. It is at FNULLIFIES. F nullifies, okay? Follow our network at F nullifies on Twitter. I'm posting regularly there every day, at least 4 or 5 updates, posts. Here is my new email address. I got the domain for FL nullifies, FL for Florida, nullifies.com. And my email is, I made it simple so it's easy to remember. It is Sibel at, that is SIBEL, Sibel at flnullifies.com. Spread the word. Share this video. Share my previous video. Share the link for our Twitter page and encourage people to follow and share my updates there. These are for these suggestions and these invitations saying, please do that. It's urgent, okay? It's for people who, I don't want to call you armchair activists, but those of you who want to commit only a little bit and say, okay, at least I did something, and that something counts. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The least you can do, people in Florida, okay, the least you can do if you are not coming and meeting with us, if you are not forming a chapter and organizing it, and it's casual, it's not some kind of bureaucratic organizational nightmare. It's not something that you have to put every day few hours. It's not that. I mean, we are meeting once or twice a week for 1 hour. So you put the commuting time, so as far as chapter meetings goes, it's no more than a couple of hours a week. So those of you who are not, maybe for whatever reason, who can't do even that, the least you can do, support us by following us on Twitter, on our Twitter page, share our tweets, encourage others to join our Twitter page. Because I'm not setting this up as an NGO, and I'm going to get to that, so it's not like, oh, okay, so we have this division, that division. I'm not setting in a bureaucratic organization, 501c3 NGOs. Those of you who want support this activism, I have a Patreon account. You can do it there. So it's transparent, because on my Patreon account, you see exactly how many people are donating, what they're donating, what the total is. So it's not one of those secret hidden things that people are like, oh, you know, how much money should, no, you see that, okay? It is very little, but every penny helps. You can do those things, okay? Now, those of you who truly sees the urgency, who truly wants to defend our liberties, our sanity, our well-beings, our state's prosperity, the businesses, our state's economy, and understand how urgent this is, and want to go above and beyond that which we need, contact me. See, I'm listing my email address. I've never done that before because then I end up getting hundreds of emails, have to go through them, and some of them are just insanity, okay, more insanity. So it's really time consuming, but send me an email and say, I'm in Jacksonville, I'm in Panhandle area, and I want to organize my group, whether there are 10 people or 100. So we do this and we network. Contact me, please start doing it. We want to have regional chapters. We don't have much time. The Congress will be back in session here on March 2nd, and we have some important things to do on mandated vaccination, COVID vaccination, mandated COVID vaccination, on mandated lockdowns like this, on mandated health-threatening mask wearing, okay? So please do that. Don't do it for me. Do it for our liberties. Do it for Florida. Do it for the United States of America. Do it for our health freedom. Do it for our economy. Do it for us. Do it for your children. Do it for your parents. Please wake up. Probably those of you who are tuning in and listening to this, not probably, I'm sure that you're all awake. Wake others up. And we need to support those elected representatives, the elected state senators, the elected House representatives, our governor, those who have kept, relatively speaking, those who have kept Florida sane so far. Because look, the big powers are very active, very busy pressuring, trying to change them by pressure, by bribery. These federal grants per each positive COVID case is bribery to get them do the unthinkable, to get people, these elected officials, these appointed officials in the states to commit acts that are in violation of our liberties, in violation of our Bill of Rights. That's what it is for. So they can invade. It is invasion. And don't say, well, how bad is it? We get our own federal government invade us. That's not really of any concern to me. Our federal government has already been invaded by, by external powers, what we refer to as the deep state. I don't believe there will be a single one of you who's watching this report saying, I don't think our federal government is corrupt and criminal to a large degree. You all agree with me. I know that because it's a fact. I talk about fact. I don't engage in a speculation. So that's what I'm telling you. The federal government has already been corrupted. That bloated federal government, power-hungry federal government has already been invaded. Do you think constitutionalists, liberties-loving people are running our federal government or even our Congress there? Every single one of them been bought out by the pimps. You know who I'm talking about, the lobbyists. Not lobbyists for the people, we the people. We don't have lobbyists. Look around. The lobbyists, they have been, the pimps, they have been bought out by, happen to represent the big pharma. And their interest and your interest is not the same. Their interest, the big pharma's interest and our interest is not the same thing. These mega tech corporations who want to watch our every move, and to a large degree they're already doing it, their interests and our interests, not the same thing. It's not. Therefore, these Washington, D.C. senators there, the congressmen and women there, they are serving the invaders' interests. I would say even some of the foreign interests that are being placed above and beyond our interests. Therefore, yes, therefore, get up, stand up. We have to do this. It's incumbent upon us. Don't listen to mainstream media putting all these negative connotations, nullifications. Oh, these are the racist, sexist people who want to secede. None of that is true. Basically, it is opting out. You can just go ahead and change the word, nullify, and say, Florida, we're going to work together. We're going to be active, nonstop, relentless to make sure that Florida opts out of mandated insanity, opts out of mandated vaccination against our human rights. Not only are liberties guaranteed by our Bill of Rights and Constitution, but even worldwide under Geneva Convention, this is in violation of human rights to force you, mandate, okay, vaccination, a vaccine that they develop within 6-7 months, the one that hasn't been even tested for 2-3 months, the one that hasn't been around to even measure its performance, okay, factually. Do you take your health freedom seriously? Then join me, join us. Do you care about your employment and your state's economy status? Then join us. Do you care about your kids in the school 9 hours breathing through this mask that is not preventing anything, any disease, and is getting 25% less oxygen or 25% more carbon dioxide? 8 hours and becoming brain dead, the cells start dying, and you develop all sorts of chronic illnesses because you're forced to breathe through this clot. You're concerned? You don't want that? You want to opt out? Please join me. Please join us and be active and let us defeat. We are in a better position, relatively a much better position than 90% of other states, 95% of other states. We'll be first, and there will be several others following after our model. We can do it, yes, together we can. Let's nullify mandated insanity. Let's opt out. And let's support those constitutionalists, those loyal to liberties in the state of Florida, government officials, whether elected or appointed, who are with us, because they are under siege. We need to neutralize the invaders' effect, the despotic central government's effect, and have them stand their grounds. Otherwise, we know things happen. I mean, all the time, people change in terms of their position. They crumble under the weight of this pressure. We can prevent that. Together we can. Supporting representative here in Florida, House Representative Anthony Sabatini, right before the session wrapped up in Congress at the end of November, he filed a bill, HB 6003, saying no mandated vaccination of any kind or any sort here in our state of Florida. Well, that's going to come on the floor. They're going to vote on it. Or even for it to come on the floor to be voted upon, he needs our support. We need to support Representative Anthony Sabatini. He's representing, he truly is representing our interests. Let's do it. Together we can. As I'm wrapping it up, let me remind you again, I'm going to put the links there. Follow me, join me at Twitter. The new Twitter page is @F capital N capital ULLIFIES. F for Florida. F nullifies. @F nullifies is our Twitter page, and the link is there. My email address. I read every one of them. Of course, I have to delete many of them because you know what happens. You can imagine. Sibel, SIBEL, @FL for Florida, @FLnullifies.com. I don't want to offend anyone here, but I'm specifically also interested in some of our veterans. Why? And you're going to say, well, why are you interested in some veterans joining this? Especially those veterans who dealt with, let's say in Army, with logistics. Because, okay, it is one thing to participate in a meeting, go there, that's great, wonderful. We sign petitions and we support together, you know, our those are all great. But when I was talking about these chapters nationwide in the state of Florida, that's where I'm starting right now. We need for each chapter at least a couple of leaders, organizers. There is some organizational skills that needs to go there. Sending updates for that particular chapter. Let's say it's in Delray Beach, Florida, okay? That's right above Fort Lauderdale, north of Fort Lauderdale. Say, okay, 4:30 p.m. we are meeting here and this is the agenda items. And those people, the organizers, will network with the other region's organizers. Let's say I'm the one here in Naples, Florida. You contact me and I will tell you what's happening. I give you status of whatever bills coming. You know, all that. And based on my experience in the past, and this was way back when in Washington, D.C., with post 9/11 Patriot Act and those assaults on our liberties, by the way, all of which are in still effect. 20 years later, nothing was taken away. We still have all those unconstitutional practices, laws, regulation, mandates. We have all of those in place. NSA is illegally against our Fourth Amendment right, is still spying on all of us, listening to all our calls, doesn't need to have any warrants, nothing. No probable cause needed. We still go through all the pat-downs and funneling and violations in our airports with no probable cause needed. All those practices, you know, the Great Patriot Act, still in effect, in full force, been renewed every year since September 11. It's been 20 years. Therefore, everything we are seeing right now will be here to stay. It's not going to be temporary for during COVID. Heck no. There will be brain-eating amoeba next, and then there will be this influenza, this strain that is like so deadly. Yeah. Anyhow, during those years when I was active, practically 24/7 every day, I worked with so many veterans who helped me organize, and together we accomplished a lot, not everything, but a lot. But they brought their set of skills that made our organizational activities very, very effective and efficient. And these veterans, you know, I had people from former Red Team leader of Navy SEAL, you know, Vietnam veteran. We had some amazing veterans who knew how to get things done. It was none of this BS stuff. And guess what? It happens. I'm talking about BS stuff. You know, you have a meeting, you go there, at least for someone like me, I have type A personality, a bit borderline OCD. I want things organized. I want to get it done. I don't have time to spend a lot of like social, those kinds of things. But, you know, it's bound to happen and things gets off track quickly. You go to a meeting with all those things. You have 10 people, but there are 4 people who are there because they are supporting. Yes, they are activists, kind of, but they also have other goals in mind. They may want to meet someone there to date or whatever it is. Or maybe they are bored and they want to chat with some people about not only this, but about, I don't know, about the weather. And there's no problem with that. It gets to be problematic when that ends up being 75% of that 1 hour you spent there. Okay? We won't accomplish much doing that. So to have the organizers, the leaders for each chapter, multiple, to keep things on track, efficient, well organized, strategies, items on our objective list, you know, and put deadlines, say we need to get this done and let's get this done there. That's when we're going to be going to places and we're going to defeat all this. That's the key. That dedication, okay, so you are dedicated and you are active and you're giving it all and you have faith, right? Paired up with well-strategized plan, well-implemented, organizedly implemented action items. We can conquer all these and we'll defeat these invaders and we will keep our Constitution and our liberties intact here in the state of Florida and in other states. Those of you who may be right now thinking, yes, that's what I'm going to do in the state of Georgia or in this state or that state. I need you, those of you with those skill sets, whether you're veterans or you have done similar things, please contact me at through my email, sibel@flnullifies.com, and let me know and say, look, I have this and I'm in this city or I'm in this county or I'm in this region of Florida and I want to work with you and the rest of you organizers, and I want to make sure that we defend our state of Florida, and we defeat these enemies of the state, the enemies of the nation, our nation, the enemies of our Constitution. And we the people, together we can. All the links should be up there in the description section, and I wish you all a wonderful, healthy Christmas season, Christmas holidays. I think I will have another video soon before next Thursday, but just in case, you never know, things happen. If I don't, if something comes up, then Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of you. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas to all of you. And for my Newsbud subscribers, I want to be transparent about this. You have had me mainly as a geopolitical analyst with a focus that is mainly international, almost all international, with geopolitics. I understand, and I know some of you have been supporting me and have subscribed because that's your interest area. You may be outside the United States, right? And say, well, this is right now she's focusing, although all the things that I'm suggesting here can be replicated and should be replicated in every single state in the United States. And it's as valid as it is, even though, yes, there is no such constitution in many of the other countries or these states kind of a structure, but the general premise applies to every single country in the world because this is a global takeover. Sure, the United States is the epicenter of this whole thing, but it is global. But I just want to tell you that I understand. I can't do everything, okay? The other day, some nice lady sent me an email saying, I would like to do this stuff, but look, I have a family member with disability and I provide care, therefore I can't. And I understand. But I have a child who I'm homeschooling. She's 12. And in our household, we are dealing with disability. My husband has been disabled due to ALS, and time is really short. And yes, we have moved to Florida. We moved to Florida 7 months ago, and we are still settling. And yes, we have to take care of our earnings and all this stuff too. So please be a bit more understanding and don't assume that people who are doing this, whether it's me or someone else you hear who's activist and saying doing this, that they are independently wealthy and have nothing to do, none of these responsibilities as mothers or fathers or full-time caregivers for their elderlies. Please don't assume that, because then it becomes, it kind of hurts, because in some way it says, I assume you have nothing to do, but I have something to do. If I were to list some things, that would be a long, long list. Back to my Newsbud subscribers. I understand if you say, I'm not interested with all this activism you're doing, although I know many of you have been really supportive and appreciative of my past activism, and therefore I'm not gonna support you. I understand that. And I'm hoping that there will be those of you who say, these are extraordinary times, and we are now fighting these extraordinarily insane fascistic measures. I may not be able to do much, but at least I can do this to support, and you can do that through my Patreon, and again the link will be there. I just want to be transparent about this whole thing. I just finished telling, and I told someone else as well, I just said, first of all, there is no time. Believe me, time is running out. But we can't go about slowly setting up an NGO and get a tax-free status from who? From the fascists, the federal government. That's the entity that grants you that 501c3 status, the tax-exempt status, and put the layers and go and get a website designer to do a nice, well-functioning, at least, website, and have someone taking care of, and then start doing fundraising for that, and then there is no time for that. As I said, with all the responsibilities, everything else that's been going on in my life, I can't do that. I can't. But I'm still gonna do it this way, meaning grassroots, 100% grassroots, we the people in the state of Florida, setting example for other states and other patriots in other states. And we're gonna get this done, hopefully. I don't want to even think about it, but if we don't, that would be only because we didn't do it, or we didn't really commit and do it. Because this is the guaranteed path to victory. The victory being for our liberties, for our health freedom, for our economic interests, for our Constitution. And only we can defeat us if we are together, because they can't. We the people. The power rests with we the people. Thank you all. I'll be with you soon. Have a wonderful holiday season, and again, thank you.